All right, 3, 2, 1. Hello, Internet. According to Chaim, this is the 176th episode of the Tech Podcast inThirty. I think, Chaim, you have used the number 176 for like the last 10 episodes. Is that correct?
That's probably true. I mean, who knows? But yeah.
We're up there. We're up there. We're getting up there. We're going to hit 200 eventually. We won't know when it is. But, of course, we have a very important Apple announcement to talk about today. But I think that Android almost overshadowed Apple because they released Android 5.1 today, right, Chaim? That is what everyone is talking about and everyone is interested in.
I thought that was the show we were going to talk about. All the international women.
Sorry. No, Chaim. You have been overruled by Tim Cook and even Phil Schiller, who did a damn good job at this Spring Forward event. They announced some nice stuff. I would say there are next to no surprises, but the whole package is pretty good.
There was one surprise.
All right, well then we'll save it. Chaim, save it. The surprises are to be savored and saved. Throw it to Paul. Paul, rate the spring. What is it? It's a Spring Forward, not Spring Ahead. Spring Forward event that Apple put on today, from 1 to 5. What was it?
1 to 5, 2 or 3.
2 or okay, so a 2.5. All right, why? Why is this not?
I was less excited about the Apple Watch after seeing this.
Interesting. See, okay, so what tempered your expectations for the watch after seeing Cook's presentation?
I don't think it's so much as the presentation as much as that I didn't get much news since the last time. So it's sort of like I was expecting to be lifted up, and I just got the same old thing.
So they're really
their release date. That's it.
It really is a meat and potatoes kind of presentation, and this is what the presentation proved to me is, and I will probably get an Apple Watch. Yes, I think it is a status symbol. I will allow myself this status symbol because really, it's useless. I'm sorry. I don't need it. I will get it, and I will feel bad about it because it does nothing that I need. I don't need it, but it proved that to me, and I still want one. So maybe that was the.
My Google Glass.
No, Google Glass does less than the Apple Watch. Google Glass is something you could sit on it and break in half in your sofa, and you would be all the better for it. But Paul, do you think that there's a camp of people like you, or like what? Can you put your finger on what you wanted that they didn't give you in this kind of summation of what the Apple Watch is going to be?
I think what they've done in the past is they've teased a little bit more, and then they gave you more information at the following keynote. And I think they didn't do that. They gave you a lot in the previous keynote, and they pretty much rehashed that with like a release date and some more price points.
This was
less exciting. It's just less exciting. It's more of a commentary on a presentation tactic than the actual watch itself.
Time as you think about whether or not you're going to get a piece of crap Android Wear like LG R or something. No, those are really okay, and some of them are circular. Do you agree with Paul, or did they tease you just right? Were the months of foreplay acceptable, Chaim, or were you not impressed?
I wasn't impressed about the whole thing. I mean, it just went on too long, and there was too little. And yes, you had to wait till the end to get the price, which I wasn't there for. I had a meeting to go to. But even after an hour, I was still not blown away.
I'm going to break this down a little bit then. Okay, so let's start with the price. We knew that $349 was the baseline. Everyone presumed that was for the smaller size, for the
Did we know two sizes? Did we know there were two sizes?
Yes,
I didn't know that. Okay.
Sizes, 38 millimeters and 42 millimeters. So $349 the starting point. I think the bump to the 42 millimeter Apple Sport was to $400. I mean, the pricing makes sense to me. It is the low end is the Apple Sport, and then comes the plain Apple Watch, and then the Edition. And there were the pricing makes sense, right? It's about $600, $700, $800 for the steel one. You get into the gold ones. This is a legitimate gold watch, and it's probably, I don't know, is comparably expensive to a gold Rolex. I mean, or are they less even than $10,000 for the smaller size?
Look, you can. The Verge just had an article on this, but once you break the $1,000 watch barrier, you're getting into a decent watch. And if you're breaking the $10,000 watch barrier, you're getting into a expensive Rolex with diamonds, which made of gold. But again,
there's a huge difference between this and a Rolex. A Rolex is going to last you, and this is going to last you until the technology becomes outdated. This is for someone that has a lot more money than someone that would buy a Rolex.
Right. So Paul, is this like spending $25,000 on a watch because it's so disposable?
I think it's closer to that. Maybe even more.
Well, what's the shelf life? 2 years?
Well, that's one thing I would let you know. We have no context for how often they're going to update this thing, but if it's yearly, that seems a little too soon.
And then you take it down, then you call Cash for Gold and say, how much gold are you going to give me for this?
Well, someone's gonna have to they're gonna have to put it in a blender for will it blend, but a jeweler is also gonna have to melt this thing down and determine how much gold is in it. And with all of these wacky metallurgical tricks that they're doing, these alloys got to make it less. It's less gold by weight than a typical gold watch.
Well,
probably.
so the question is, how much of the $10,000, or let's start with the $350, is R&D versus the cost of material?
I'm going to even go the other direction and say that when you look at the markups on these things, I think we're talking astronomical, like 1,000, 2,000% markups, especially when you look at the gold bands that come with the edition. If they have any gold buckles, it adds like $2,000 to the total price. Paul, did you see the breakdown for some of the buckle prices?
It was a lot.
If you go for a buckle that has gold on the back as well, it's like it's $2,000 to it, and then they actually by default paired the white gold edition watch with the fluoroelastomer band, which is like I don't know, like getting a Rolex and then having like I don't know, crayon or something. It just
the question is, what is the markup? Because that's the better question. Because okay, if the $350 Apple Watch and it costs them $100 to make the watch.
Yes.
Okay, so that means when you try to sell the Apple Watch for parts, are they going to give you $9,900?
With the edition,
with a $10,000 watch, are they going to give you $9,000 back because it costs $9,000 in materials, or is it going to be more like $3,000 and Apple is just making a killing on this?
My guess is that if you line them all up, that they would be the actual difference in cost metal-wise, and it's not easy to source. I'm sure, like there's a lot of steel out there. There's a lot of gold, more or less. Even though it's a rare element. But like when you line them all up on a table, the difference between them would be hundreds of dollars, even though the price difference is percentage-wise like out of the park. We'll wait. Someone will see that. But Paul, what you seem of the three of us, you seem the most savvy about nice watches.
What does that mean? I'm all.
I don't know if that's not true. That's not true.
Chaim, how many? You got a Rolex, Chaim?
I have an Omega somewhere.
All right, my tag hewer. I don't even like them. But Paul, is this where are you coming in at price wise? Are you interested? You're not going to touch the thing, or what?
I'll probably get one. I'm a little bit less interested than I was, and I'm not as happy. Like I'm less gung ho about it, but I will still probably get one. I do think it is mostly it's mostly like a fashion play, I would say, rather than a technology.
So let's get this out of the way. Which one are you gonna get?
I'm not there yet. I can't get a sport. So
right. So
the rubber band is not cool enough for you.
It's also when you touch it, it's probably gonna feel. It's not gonna feel as nice. I too. I think I'm gonna have to sell a couple of shares of Apple and get a $700 one, with the steel with the leather, you know. So we got that out of the way. And Chaim, presumably you're not getting one unless you're a very good.
Look, I'm in the market for a smartwatch, but I haven't seen anything that says this is the one to have.
It does nothing without an iPhone, effectively, right? I mean, once you get this Apple Watch, you are locked in because this is just. I mean, we don't even know if Google has had any pre-access to it. It's going to be a while before Google stuff can even appear on the watch. And Google's good about getting their stuff out like that. But like, this is not going to pair with an Android phone. This is just not. You're going to have
No,
literally.
of course.
So
it's going to be with an iPhone or an iPad, whatever it is. But
all right, let's move on. Let's move on a little bit. The charging or the diagnostic port that was rumored has been all but verified in the fabrication videos. And again, Johnny Ive and his voiceover skills, man, he should be, you know, he's up there with like Morgan Freeman when he's talking about this molten, you know, steel or whatever. He's good. That's half of his job now. But it does have a port hidden inside one of the areas that you put the band in. We don't know if it's purely for diagnostics, if it can be expanded for accessories, if you can even charge the device through it, but it's there. And software-wise, then, because we'll just put that topic to bed. Any surprises?
Well, again, the question is, what's the yearly release? Is it a yearly release cycle? Is this a 2-year, 3-year lasting watch? Is this going to be?
Well, we're almost done with software. I think that Tim Cook, there was a feature that he sold as kind of a surprise. No one in this quiz. He talked he talked into the thing Dick Tracy style. I mean, no. Even if it can do that, don't. It just no. We're not.
You're not gonna send each other our heartbeats.
Heartbeats maybe. Heartbeats.
What about little doodles? Are you gonna doodle and then send it? You're gonna pair your watch.
Okay, the almost.
Are you gonna draw phallic symbols and just have them appear randomly while I'm in the meeting?
Ask the almost this newly married Paul. Is this are Chaim and Rivka now on the hook to get you and Laura matching or like complimentary Apple Watches? Is this a couple's item?
No. I think it is a couple's item.
It does seem right.
Yeah.
With the tapping and everything.
I think this is a groom to best man item.
Okay, all right. So Chaim, you do want one. Admit it, you want one.
No, I don't like square watches. That's the biggest.
Okay.
That's the biggest issue.
Okay, so Tim Cook did the talking to a Dick Tracy style thing. Even Steve Wozniak famously said that is kind of a weird thing to do. It's the thing that they did tease us with, I think, smartly, is the battery life. They let that 1-day battery life hang in the air, and it looks like if you're not all over this thing, you won't have to charge it every day. I mean, I bet you with light usage and as the software gets better, we're talking 3 days.
Look, I have an automatic watch. Any automatic watch needs daily windings. So I'm used to winding my watch up daily.
So I'm thinking if you're a car commuter, I charge my Fitbit in my car. I mean, you can always do it in the car, right? And then you can even get sleep tracking if you want it out of the thing, right? I mean, if it lasts, look, they're giving the 72-hour thing with a certain amount of light usage. Paul, do you think that is feasible, and doesn't push you a little bit more toward wanting to purchase it than the 1 day number that they let the press kind of bandy about?
Yeah, I just don't think realistically it's going to last longer than the 18 hours.
So you think 18 hours not of heavy usage, but 18 hours of just like usage?
Yeah, I think moderate usage.
And Chaim, when you come from the automatic watch world, do you have an electrically powered mechanical charger that you put at your bedside, or do you manually crank it?
No, you manually turn, what do they want to call it, the crown.
Well, I know, but they're devices that are electrically powered.
Oh, I don't care that much.
Okay, but then you expect it to keep good time, just like I'm interested.
No, I have to set it every morning.
Okay,
look, I have a Seiko that's kinetic that has a battery of a month, and as long as I move my arm or move it, it will continue.
I know you just have to wear it when you pleasure yourself once or twice a month, and you're fine, right, Chaim?
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. So
okay. Okay, so look, the Apple Watch is coming. You get to try it on April 10th. The Apple stores, can you just, I cannot fathom how damn crowded they're going to be. I mean, it's going to be insane. No? I mean, they're crowded to begin with.
You'll be able to try on an edition watch at an Apple store.
I
Is there a velvet rope in the bathroom of the Apple store? Is that where they're going to put the velvet rope?
You have to sit on the throne to try on the edition watch. I don't know. The stores are going to have some of them. Maybe they're going to be under glass. Maybe we're going to see this fancy box. Whatever it might be, they are getting into an area of customization that is new to them. People are going to have to try these things on. There are going to be a billion different SKUs. I think that...
Yeah, I just hit on it. Apple just doubled their SKUs.
The price points don't make any sense. I'm just looking at the website.
Go deeper into it. I think they do.
I thought the bands were interchangeable. Are they not interchangeable?
I think, strictly speaking, they are interchangeable, but it's kind of like an iTunes album-only song. If you want certain bands, you have to buy them at the time you purchase the watch. And the metal connects don't necessarily have finishes that match every different type of watch.
Right. So I assume there's going to be a huge third-party provider market for this.
There are Chinese dudes doing CAD drawings as we speak on this. I mean, they've been doing them, but now.
What was the funniest picture of Christy Turlington Brown? There was one thing.
You want to throw that in there, and we'll also say that Tim Cook talked up the research kit thing. They're getting into health. They're getting into the home.
No, I want to talk about.
Let me just throw this out there. They're going to build a car in a couple of years. I really believe
they're not building a car.
They will.
They won't.
They will build a car, Chaim. 5 years they will build a car.
I think they're building a car.
What do you want to say? See, Paul, we're right, Chaim. What do you want to say about this blogger or runner that Tim Cook gave a special Apple Watch to? What did she say? I didn't even listen to her.
No, nothing that she said. There was one picture of her running. And what did she have on her left arm?
She has the Apple Watch. I am looking at it at the front.
Okay, what's on her right shoulder?
You can't tell the way the picture is taken. It's a profile.
It's an iPhone in the armband.
Okay.
And it's just okay. The one thing I kind of wanted was some sort of headphone jack on this thing, or some Bluetooth that I can send music to, so you can keep your iPhone in your pouch or.
It does Bluetooth music. If Apple could release a set of Bluetooth headphones.
Basically, it was you have to have the thing on your right arm. You have to have your watch on your left arm.
You're right. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And then she's running a half marathon. I mean, look, I would love to be able to say that I ran a half marathon, but a half marathon.
Google Glass with jumping out of airplanes.
But would you rather? What's more impressive, jumping out of an airplane or running 13 miles?
Anyway, I can push you out of an airplane unconscious, Chaim. So no, it's not impressive. I mean, no. What are you talking about?
I don't know. I feel like she ran in Africa a little bit.
You could literally go out of it. You could be dead and be pushed out of an airplane. Okay, I guess I could put you in a wheelbarrow and run you.
No, I think Chaim was saying that it's much more impressive to run a marathon than.
Well, it's the other way. Jump out of the airplane. But anyway, that was my whole thing.
Okay.
But I have nothing else. We are
on time.
18 minutes.
18 minutes in. Okay, this is a good time to put the watch to bed. I will go see it on April 10th. I want to play with the finishes. I am going to pick apart these bands. They're going to want to kick me out of the store. I guarantee it. Okay, so Apple shakes up their notebook line. Oh, let's also throw in there because this is actually pretty big. Well, this is the intermission for the show. Apple TV, $30 knocked off, and HBO Go for $15 a month starts off on the Apple TV exclusively. It's actually a big win. I think I'm surprised this is happening at this time of year, but I mean, it puts it into Firebox, Chromecast territory at $70. It's pretty nice.
But if you have those two, you're not buying an Apple TV. If you already have two, pick two. You're not buying the third.
Okay, but if you pick two overall, the Apple TV is very heavily running HBO. You can go get to watch it in your Apple Car in 5 years. Anyway, so that's kind of.
Did you notice how the CEO of HBO looked like a guy from The Sopranos?
I did not know. He's the same guy, Pepper or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so. Phil Schiller gets to do his thing with the notebooks, and now they bring back the MacBook name, and they release this three-colored. You have three options: silver, space black, or space gray colors. The first MacBook metal MacBook that you choose colors on. It's super thin, I mean, like, we have to look at the spec. It's probably thinner or as thin as an iPad, right? I mean, it's minuscule. And it has a Retina 12-inch display, custom battery, custom battery inside fit chassis perfectly. It's the first time the hinges and all of the interconnects for the chassis are all metal. It's all made of metal except for the glass and the plastic keys. I'm just off the neat features. Each of the plastic keys has own LED under it, so that really it'll make the keyboard lighter nicer. And it's $1,300. I think it's pretty cool. I think that the pricing is surprisingly good, and
Justin, you're really siloning. But here's my issue. My issue is for the same price, you can get the 13-inch Retina MacBook Pro with a few more ports. Or a MacBook Air. Let's just go with a MacBook Air that has one USB port, one power port, and it's 1 millimeter thicker.
Paul in here. What's your take on Chaim's Consumer Reports?
It's going to be more of a powerful machine, I assume. I didn't really get the specs on it. Is it not more powerful than a MacBook Air?
It's the same. It really is.
It uses the newest Broadwell processors. The bottom line is, if you're going to choose between the two of them, I think that the Retina display more than makes up for any loss of I/O. The longer battery life. People, having USB ports, the vast majority of the time, the decreased weight weighs 2 pounds. Time that you could really use one of these things to top up your vegetables too.
Justin, you need to fix the mic. You either need to leave and come back or something. But
all right, luckily I'm okay. But then you talk about my.
Well, look, I saw it and I said, wow, this is. The rumor sites hit it exactly on the head. Everything they said was perfect. The renderings almost were perfect. I mean, we didn't know about the keys, the butterfly keys, and the Force trackpad, but we knew it was trackpad. Oh well, we had the 12-inch. We had that. We had the one port, which. Look, I've heard Marco and John Siracusa argue over this, and I agree with them. Most people don't plug anything in. If this is your one laptop to take with you, you're probably not plugging in an external mouse. You're probably not plugging it in. So if you need something, that one port is there. And if it's for power, fine. And if you really need something, they sell you that $80 dongle that will do it all. But I don't know. I just feel like $1,300 is just, it's not the cheap MacBook. It's not... If it was $700, I would be more inclined to say, yeah, you could just buy this.
I thought this was a work computer. It is extremely portable. It's a little bit more powerful than the MacBook Air. It's got an awesome keyboard. It's sort of mid-range price. It seems like an office computer to me.
I agree. I think this is a legit. This is a Starbucks off computer, and will push the ports away. I am surprised that it has a headphone jack. I kind of thought it wouldn't. I thought it wouldn't have a headphone jack, and they would release a set of Bluetooth earbuds that would work with the watch and this MacBook. I'm surprised it's not called the MacBook Air Retina. It's just the MacBook, which is weird. This is, if any MacBook was ever deserving the Air moniker, this would be it. And further, like there is an interesting point of unity between it and the watch, which is that they both use this Taptic engine now, and because there's not enough room for the mechanics of the clickable trackpad, it just vibrates at you when you click on it, which might be, I don't know how that's going to work out, but I think it's smart they released it at the same time as the watch, and they're like giving this new, and the Force Touch pixels on the watch are also like that same technology is present on the trackpad. They're slowly getting their model lineup to include Force Touch and the vibrating feedback.
Look, I have a feeling the MacBook Air dies and this becomes the MacBook Air.
Agreed.
I mean, not this year, maybe not next year, but maybe they can't make the MacBook Air Retina yet, so they can't. Or maybe the MacBook Air just dies and this becomes the new model. We have 11 points. We have an 11-inch and we have a 13-inch. Here's a 12-inch in the middle that people would buy. You have your 13-inch and 15-inch MacBook Pros, and then you go from there. But
they added they regressed in my point of view a little bit. They added the MacBook branding back to the black bezel on the front of the thing, which I think shouldn't be there. They put it back. Bad. I think that's bad. But when you look at USB-C, okay, first of all, the power adapter that it comes with is USB-C to USB-C, which I think is really obnoxious, because wouldn't it make more sense to just give 29-watt USB adapter that you could I'm sure you could use it to plug, you could even convert it into a regular USB adapter, but it's USB-C to USB-C, and it's reversible. They could have even done the Lightning connector, which is reversible. Or is the iPhone eventually going to switch over to USB-C? They could have unified that range of their products, and the charging is a really big deal, and they chose not to do that. It seems a little lame.
I think you have a riot. I think there'll be a riot if all of a sudden the 6S is USB-C now.
True, I'm not saying otherwise, but I just...
They said 10 years. You got the 30-pin connector for 10 years. Stop your bitching. You got 10 years use out of it. And everyone said, yeah, you're right. And now if all of a sudden they move after 3 years, I think we're going to have a riot.
I think they're not going to do that. I'm not saying they will. I'm saying they could have. I just look at the HP Chromebooks that are chargeable by the same micro USB port that Android devices are typically powered by. I think that's a really nice feature. And eventually your MacBook will be able to be charged by the same. Android will move to USB-C. So USB-C is going to become really prevalent, and then you're still left needing a Lightning connector for your iOS device. And potentially an inductive magnetic charger for your watch. It's obnoxious. They could have unified it a little bit.
Are we buying into USB-C actually becoming a universal standard?
Absolutely.
And it will. And it's interesting that Apple's getting behind it, but will the next range of MacBooks for the Pros ever be charged by it? Are we going to? Because if we got that, I mean, that would be pretty nice. I would like to take a minute though to talk about how the Airs were up. The Airs got back from, and the 13-inch Pro got spec bumps too that are comparable to this new MacBook, the 12-inch one, with a faster flash and longer battery life. But I think that's a software thing. And this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. They're putting the Force Touch trackpad into the 13-inch Pro, even though it's not a mechanical requirement. So they're doubling down on the Taptic engine and the vibrating motor feedback being better than the physical click, which I think is a little weird when it's not a mechanical constraint of the device. But they're doing that, and they're leaving the 15-inch MacBook unupgraded, which by my account makes me feel better about my recent purchase of one. So bravo to them for that, I guess. But it's the notebook lineup is complicated. It's weird.
There's just too many of them. What happened to Air 13-inch, 15-inch?
And the old Pro is still in there too. And then you have the non-Retina 13-inch, and now you have the Retina 13. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The old Pro. The old Pro is still for sale. So I mean, you got to talk about SKUs, but this thing, I mean, it's a very easy recommend, even without the ports to me.
Oh, I couldn't recommend this to anybody unless they're just literally they have their desktop and they have the money to burn to go to class or go to Starbucks, but that's it. I can't see you doing any sort of. I don't want to say real work. I can't see you being a power user.
When was the last time your mom needed to plug a USB key into her notebook?
You'd be surprised.
My mother never does. Never.
I mean, there's no SD card. That's the bigger thing, is that a lot of people. I could see this being big with photographers. You want to offload your photos, do a little quick photo editing. There's no SD card for this.
There's going to be a dongle. Apple's getting a little too dongle happy. Honestly, I thought to myself, I have an Ethernet dongle. I have a 3-pin Lightning connector, which is effectively a dongle. It's a little annoying. But Paul, how often does your mom plug in USB devices?
Not often. I don't plug in things often.
And it has. I mean, like, what do you? Is this just like a little growing pain for you? I mean, what is the issue here?
Well, look. The older you get, the more you're afraid of the cloud. I know a lot of people. the cloud is analogous to buying something from Amazon in 1996. But you're trying to sell Time Machine. You're trying to sell a backup. Well, you can't put your Time Machine backup in because there's no USB port.
That's not how Time Machine. Well, Time Machine can work with a network device, and it can be third-party network devices. But there is going to be a meme where people are going to buy a whole bunch of those USB, because you can daisy chain USB-C adapters. So there's that like Frankenstein adapter that's USB-C to HDMI and USB-A or the old USB and USB-C. So you could plug in a whole bunch of those things. It's going to look a little funny.
Oh, we're out of time. Last comment. Right. We're out of time.
My last comment, Chaim, is buy Paul and Laura their matching Apple Watches and get them engraved for their wedding. That is my last comment to you, Chaim. That is my last comment.
I'll buy your watch off of you and give it to them for their wedding.
Okay. If your engagement is long, Paul, Chaim and I will work out for you. Okay.
Okay.
According to Chaim, this has been episode 176. It feels like Groundhog Day. inThirty. Thanks for watching or listening.
Bye.
Bye. Good thing we did Audacity.